Okay, this is a video on the survey project. And I've got a new project here in RStudio Cloud that's called Survey Tips. And when I complete this, as I do this video, I'll save this so you can copy and paste the code if you want to, or take a closer look at it. Um, I'm going to recommend that you use Google Forms, Google Drive, to do the survey. And so you'll need a Google account, Google Drive account. And then Google Forms it's actually not one of these three basic ones, but if you go to more, so I'm in my kind of Google Drive account, new, and then more, and it's this Google Forms here. And I just think it's a good way to create online surveys. So you could save this, call it survey project, give that a name. Okay, and it'll default to that. I might call this, whatever, attitude survey or something like that. So there are these kind of select the question by clicking on it there. And there are these different question types. So let's keep multiple choice. And let's say I want to get what is your gender. And then actually notice for that one, I don't think it does it for all of them, but for this particular question, it'll notice that you're asking about it, and then you can add all, and it kind of has it all set up for you. But if you wanted to go in here and create it yourself, obviously female, and then let's add another one. Okay, and it gives me male. And I'll give you another type of question that you might use. There's this linear scale where maybe you'll have, what is your attitude, about whatever. And then maybe, then you can set it like a typical Likert scale, 1 to 5 or 1 to 7 or whatever. And then you have, I love it or hate it on the other pole or whatever you want to do. Um, Another type that you might consider is create a new question there. Is this multiple choice grid? I feel like this is something that comes in handy, especially it's like the kind of thing you might see for psychological tests. So let's say indicate the extent to which you agree with each of the following. And what's nice about the multiple choice grid is you can set up like a scale like this, 1 to 7, that applies then to each individual question, which will appear on rows. So you might see, let's say you're studying, something like introversion, extroversion. And so you might have questions like, maybe statements like I am shy, I am outgoing, whatever, I like to talk to people, something like that. And then, okay, so you've got your items there, and then in the columns, you'll have what the kind of the labels are. So it might be something like strongly agree, and you could have a neutral, or let's keep it at four categories, and then strongly disagree. So now I can show you what that looks like when you see it. Kind of just shows you this version of it. If you want to look at what it's going to appear like to the people who take the survey, it'll look like this, right? And so this is kind of the kind of thing you'll see where you'll have a series of statements, and then you'll have the same kind of scale on each for each item. And actually, let's just put some data in here. I'm just going to pretend like I'm taking this, and let's put a few in here. Just kind of get a variety of responses. So then when we put into R, there'll be something there. Okay. So, all right, so let me step back a second. So you've got your survey, and once you have it like you like and you previewed it and everything, now you want to distribute it, you can go up here to this send button, And probably you could email people like this. Probably the easiest way I think to do it is with this little, I guess it's like a paperclip, like a little link tab here. And then if you copy the link, and then you can actually get a short link too, like that, copy it and then send that to people however you want. You could put it on social media or send it to people. And then when they click on this link, in fact, we'll just do that here. They'll get the form, right? They'll get the survey. And then they can take it, and then the data. Then you'll sort of collect the data. So let me show you. So I put three kind of sample data in there, and if you go see how it says questions here, and then here it says responses. So if you click there, it'll give you like you can see what, like, this is what the first person said, and then second person, third person, right? Or you can look at it by question. But there's a way that I want to recommend that you do this. I mean, kind of the analysis that it gives you on Google here is pretty, it's pretty pathetic, really. It's pretty basic, and you're not going to want this. What you're going to want to do is bring it into R. And so there's this little icon here. It always reminds me of a flag. Like, it looks like the flag of Sweden or whatever it is. But it's the Google Sheets, like the spreadsheet icon. And if you click on that, and then you can, I'll call this survey data. And then create the spreadsheet. It says down here linking, and so you can then open the spreadsheet. Now what'll happen is that whenever you get people who fill out your survey, it'll go to this spreadsheet. And so you can click on it there, and it'll be in your Google Drive, and you can access it just like your survey or whatever. And it'll create this little spreadsheet with all of the responses. And as as more people do it, as the next person does it, it'll go into this, to this next row, and then next row, etc. And so however many people you get, it'll just fill it all up. Now I want to show you how I want you to bring this into R. There's a couple ways you might do this. You might even just download it and then upload it into R. But I'm going to show you the way that I think, after playing around with this quite a few times, this is the way that I would recommend. And now I'm in the spreadsheet. I'm not in the form. I'm not in the survey. I'm in the spreadsheet, and where it says share here, what I'm going to do, see where it says get shareable link? I'm going to get a link to this survey. And you could probably even just do it by copying that, but I'm not 100% sure that works, but I know that this works, where I do share and then get shareable link and then copy the link. And notice how it says anyone with a link can view. So if somebody, I don't know how anybody would get this link, but nobody can screw around with this spreadsheet. You'd have to set that to edit. So we're just going to say, okay, anyone with the link can view. I'm going to copy that link. I think it's probably the same as the one up here, but anyway, I know that this works. And then, okay, so now let's go back to R. I've loaded the tidyverse here, and here's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to paste. That's the link to that survey. Okay, but I want to show you how we can do this. So I'm going to let's call it my survey. And what I want to do is use this read CSV function that I think we've used before. And then in parentheses and then also in quotes, I'm going to paste this link again. I already pasted it up here, but I'm going to paste it here. And now, but here's the thing, I need to change something, and I will put these notes here in this project. I want to see where it says, let me move this over a little bit so we can see more of this. See where it says, so it has the URL here, and this is actually the main URL. And then it has this edit, USP sharing. That's actually not necessary to get to the spreadsheet, but here's what I want you to change this edit business, everything after that slash. I want it to be export and then format equals CSV. And so The spreadsheet is not by default in the CSV format. That CSV stands for comma separated values. It's in whatever Google Sheets format is. But what I want to do is force Google to convert it to that CSV format. And I do it with this format. Okay, question mark. So which format? Sorry, not format. Export. Export, and then, okay, what format? Well, how do I want to export it? I want to use the export format CSV. Okay, so if you just everything after that slash there, that final slash, delete where it said sharing or whatever, or edit, and put this. Okay, and in fact, let me just show that to you really quick. If I let's see if I undo what I had there before. Okay, so I've got this. Let's say I tried this, where this edit business, using this read CSV. See, I get all these problems, parsing failures. And if I go up here to my survey, like what the heck is that? It's a mess, you know. So this is why I want to have you do this CSV format. So let's do that again. Let's delete this, and then export question mark format equals CSV. Okay, now if I do it, and I want it to be CSV because I'm using this read CSV. So now I do it. Okay, so now it gave me some red messages, but they're not error messages. It's just telling me what it did. And so now if I go to my survey, that's exactly, you know, what it looks like over here, but just kind of in our format. Okay, so that's what I would recommend you do. It's a little bit convoluted. You got to, you know, paste the URL in there. Make sure you include that HTTPS, and then just replace that whatever it said before with this export line. Okay. And by the way, now if more people take your survey, and this part of the reason I want you to do it this way is now let's say you want to play with it a little bit before you're done collecting data. You can run it like this, and then as more people put their responses in, you just run this again, and it'll take whatever new data has been put there. Okay, now, but one of the weird things here is that look at these these are actually the variable names. You know, timestamp, that's fine, but the other ones, I mean, even what is your gender, but like, this is ridiculous, you know, for this to be the name of the variable. Indicate the extent to which. So what I want to do first is rename some of this business here. Now, one thing you could do is you could actually go into here and rename it, but then I'm not sure if that'll stay. I'm not sure what kind of problems that creates. So I think it's better to do that in R. So here's how to do that. So I'm going to create a new chunk. I'm going to start with our survey, and there's this rename function that that you can rename the columns with. So I'm going to do rename, and then I'm going to, okay, actually, so I can see what it says, I'm going to do a glimpse my survey. Okay, and then see how that's nice. That shows you the titles of the columns. So I'm going to rename, and I'm going to put the new name first. So I'm just going to call, I want to call the first column gender. And then I'm just going to copy and paste whatever's up here. And it says, what is your gender? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this kind of long name, and I'm going to just change it to something simple like gender. And by the way, those little back ticks are just another way to do quotes. Okay, I'm going to do another one, rename the next one, and I'm going to call it attitude equals, and then I'm going to say, what is your attitude? Okay, and then the next one, and then this is the ridiculous ones. And I'm going to call that, let's call it shy equals that one. Okay, and then this next one, let's call it outgoing. You get the idea, but I'll just finish these last couple ones. Okay, that's good enough. We don't have to do that last one, but just so you get the idea. So now let's make sure that worked. Okay, I've got, oh, I spelled rename wrong. Re-enemy. Okay, there we go. Let's see if that fixes it. Okay, there we go. And so now you see, instead of these ridiculous names, now we've got nice simple names. And let me kind of pull that over. Oh, that's right. I didn't change the name of that last one. So, but anyway, now, okay, now here's the other thing. All that did is display this. If we want to actually change the survey, we've got to do this business, right? Where we're taking this survey, changing it, renaming it, and then putting it back in to my survey so it actually kind of saves it. So when I do that, okay, and now I'm going to run this glimpse again up here. And so notice, except for that last one, those got changed. Okay, so that's something that you'll probably want to do when you import it. Now, here's the other thing. Let's say we want to do some statistic. So let's say we want to get the mean attitude. So let's say mean, and then my survey. And to refer to one of the individual columns, you use the $sign. So my survey is the data frame, and then which column? It's, what did I say? Attitude. And, okay, so I can get the mean of it, 3.667, right? So does that make sense? And yeah, 11 divided by 3. But like if I wanted to get the mean of, let's say, shy, is that the next? Yeah, shy. It's going to give me an error, because how can you take a mean of strongly agree and disagree and all those things? That doesn't make sense. So probably the other thing that you're going to want to do is recode some of these. If you have any of those multiple choice variables, you'll want to recode the variable labels into numbers. And we did that before with factors, but I want to show you how you do that. This is not a factor, it's just a character variable. And so I want to show you how we can do that. So let's start with my survey. I think what we're going to want to do is mutate, so create a new column basically, but I'm going to call it gender. Sorry, not gender. What was it? Attitude? That was the one we were looking at. Is that right? No, that was the one that was numeric. Sorry, shy. That's the one, shy. And what I'm going to do here is, let's see, is that right? Yeah, shy equals, and then I'm going to recode the existing shy variable. And put a comma there. And what you need to do is basically list each level. So okay, so I'm putting it in quotes, so strongly agree. Let's say I want to change that to a 1. And I'm going to put that in quotes as well. Okay, and then agree. It's a little bit tedious to do this, but once you get it, I'm going to make that a 2. Actually, I'd probably do 4, 3, 2, 1. So the stronger the agreement, the higher the number. So let's do that. That's a 3. Comma, and then what is it? Disagree was next. I forgot my quotes again. There we go. Disagree equals 2. And then strongly disagree. I keep on forgetting my quotes there. Strongly disagree equals 1. Let's see. Is that right? Let's try that and see if that worked. Okay, there we go. So notice how, before up here, well, before it was, what was it? Strongly agree, and agree, right? 4, 3, and 3. So it changes them. So, and I recommend before you save it, so kind of display it first. If it looks like it's working, then you can go ahead and put this business here, right? And now I'm basically saving that back into the survey. So kind of making it, more permanent. And so now when I run this mean, if I want to get the mean of my survey, oh yeah, now okay, now here's the other thing. So yeah, I forgot about this. So let me show you this. So now if we go back to my survey, we made a couple changes, so let's look at it here. So notice we changed a couple of those titles. We also changed shy so that it has numbers. But if you kind of hover with your pointer over the column, it'll tell you what kind of column it is. So like over attitude, notice it says numeric. But over shy, it still says character. And that's because, so I started with words, right? And so it's going to be a character column. So now, how would I do this? Let's see. Let me kind of start over really quickly here. So let's say I'm gonna read this in from Google again. I'm going to rename those. So now, sorry about this. We go back to survey. So notice it's back to words. So I want to show you the best way I think to do this. So if I've got, let's get rid of that here. I've got this where I'm converting it to numbers, but even though I'm converting it to numbers, it's still, they're still in quotes and they're still characters. And that's because it's a character column. So what I want to do is, I'll show you, this is kind of a cool trick. You use this as dot numeric and put everything after that in quotes. So I'm going to take this recode. I'm going to change those. They look like numbers, but they're actually being treated as characters. So I'm going to change those to numbers. So now, notice, I think the only thing that'll change is where it says shy and then CHR. So let's run that again. Notice now it says shy and then that double DBL, which is a numeric column. Okay, so now if I do all that, I've recoded it, I've done this as numeric, and then I save it back into my survey. Okay. Run this. So now let's see if I do my mean of shy again. Hopefully that will work. There we go. So now I got a 3.33. So when I go back to survey, right, so 10 divided by 3. So that's something that you'll probably want to do, and just realize that there are these kind of multiple steps. First of all, you have to change the words to numbers, and then you have to tell it that you want it to treat the numbers, as a numeric variable. Now, the other thing is that you've got these gender, like the gender one that we had, that is probably not, it doesn't really make sense to get the mean of gender, that you could assign numbers to it, like 1s and 2s if you wanted to, but you probably don't need to do that. You're not going to really do any math on that. But instead you want to, that says what is gender, doesn't it? but if what you probably won't want to do is change gender to a factor, and we've already done some of that in the Pew survey project, so I won't mess with that anymore. But I think I'll go ahead and end there. I think that gives you a feeling. I'll kind of tidy this up a little bit and then save it to RStudio Cloud. Okay, bye.